Welcome to a remote edition of the Russo-Souhan Show. Michael Russo of The Athletic is in Winnipeg covering the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights in what might be a great series, although Winnipeg certainly looked great in Game 1. I'm in Washington, D.C. doing some family stuff, so Brandon has us hooked up via phone. We will take Twitter questions later. We appreciate everybody listening to the show. Thanks to Twill in the Edina Galleria, twillmn.com, Twill on Instagram, it's TWILL, fixologyrepair.com, Mall of America and Downtown in the Skyway, and Tony Hoaglund, Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. I'll tell you more about our sponsors later. Also, our first live Cheryl Reeve show will be this Wednesday, 5 p.m. at Free House in the North Loop. Please stop by and say hello. We'd love to meet our listeners. And if anybody would like to host this show as a live show or sponsor the program, you can reach me at jsouhan47 at gmail.com. So, Michael, set the scene for me. I know we've talked to you before from Winnipeg, but it's probably a little bit heightened with the way that team is playing right now.
Yeah, Game 1 was as loud as I've ever heard it. It was just absolutely deafening in there. I was talking to an agent today that was sitting in the stands, and he said that it was like almost painfully deafening. Like you almost felt like you had to plug your ears. In the press box, you don't really get that sense just because you're so high above it and above the speakers and things like that. But, you know, the outside of the arena, it's unbelievable, especially on Saturday. I mean, people were down here early drinking. Every block surrounding the arena is fenced off, dump trucks at the end of each city block to obviously protect the people in there, just with, the state of today's world and sometimes some of the terrorism that goes on. So that was pretty interesting to see. And these fans here are rabid. I think they sense that this team is ready to potentially go and really bring a championship to this city that has been starved for one for a long, long time. Back when they had the old Jets and the new current Jets. So the fans are excited. They have reason to be. This team looks primed and ready.
Is this the best team in hockey?
I think so. Although Washington, man, they look really good right now.
Yeah, they do.
Tampa looks like they have some issues. And, Ovechkin has been just absolutely awesome. It just seems like he is he is not, he wants to show everybody that I think that he's somebody that could take this Capitals team and win it all. And, it's been almost 15 years for this guy in the NHL and a lot of frustrations in the playoffs and not getting to this point. And now I think he senses that they have the ability to really, 6 wins away from Stanley Cup. And I think this is, I was more confident that Tampa would beat Washington than I would say that Winnipeg would beat Vegas. And that's how stunned I am right now at the first 2 games. And now Tampa's up against it, going to Washington down 0-2. That team just looks awesome right now. It just seems like Holtby is dialed in. It looks like they just look bigger, faster than the Lightning right now, and the Lightning are just not executing. So, Kuznetsov has been absolutely awesome. Lars Eller has stepped in for Nicholas Backstrom and has played absolutely great. And so it's hard to say without seeing Washington first up close and personal that Winnipeg's the best team, but I'd still put Winnipeg up against anybody. And Scheifele's just been unreal. Hellebuck's been great. Blake Buff is having, if it wasn't for Scheifele, would be probably the front runner to win the Conn Smythe, at least on Winnipeg's side. They just look awesome right now, and Vegas has a lot of work to do tonight to try to get back into the series.
Yeah, I'm in D.C. now, and I have relatives who are big Capitals fans, and they've always reminded me of Vikings fans. They're passionate. They want to go to the games. They want to be around the atmosphere, but they're also paranoid that something's going to go wrong every series.
Yeah, no, and it usually does. And this is, they seem like they exercise their demons of getting past Pittsburgh, and now they've come in here and took advantage of a Tampa team that had been rested and really, you look at Tampa right now, and they just kind of look like a mess. They're hesitant. They're not aggressive. The first minute of last night's game to just again fall down immediately was obviously a tough blow. Then they eventually tie the game up or get back into the game, and again they just have a messed up play at the end of the second period where they gave up a couple goals. And really, they were only up in that game. Were able to rally back because of phantom high sticks. So they've got to be better. I mean, that's 2 times now that they have given up a goal in the final minute of final seconds of a period, and it's obviously killing him right now.
Would it hurt Bruce Boudreau to see the Capitals win it all, or do you think he'd be happy for them?
I don't know if he'll be happy for him, but
yeah.
I think he's past that. I think anytime Anaheim loses now, he feels really, really good. But look, Bruce has other things that he's got to worry about, and that's figuring out a way to get the Wild back into a position where they can actually be a contender.
Right. Can you update us on the GM search? We're talking here on Monday afternoon, so obviously there's the chance that by people hear this, there will be some news breaking. But just for the moment, what are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, right now it looks like that they've cut it down to both Tom Fitzgerald and Paul Fenton. If there's a third finalist, I haven't been able to confirm that. Fenton comes in the next day or so. Fitzgerald comes in later in the week. And then I've got to think that by the weekend that Craig will figure out what he wants to do, and maybe we have a press conference early next week. That'd be my hope, at least, just to get on with the situation. I mean, it's funny when you have a GM search. It's not that it goes on and on. It's that, my standpoint, you just kind of want to get on with it so you can start, one, cultivating relationships, but two, kind of fast, kind of forward the story. What is the next step? Who stays? Who goes? How do they prepare for the draft? What is the plan to right this ship? Does he agree with Craig Leopold's assessment that tweaks are only needed? So Fenton and Fitzgerald, it looks like those are the two finalists. Again, if there's a third, I don't know, but I think that we're getting to the point where we're wrapping up. I am a little surprised at the very beginning. I thought this would be a much faster search, but once you started doing his diligence and Nashville continued, it was very clear that this was going to go longer. And right now, the timeline looks very much identical to the one in 2009 when Chuck Fletcher was hired on May 22nd.
The network is talknorth.com. It's a Minnesota-based podcast network, mostly sports. We also have Throw the Boss Out, a business show. We've added the Cheryl Reeve Show and some other shows. Check out the website or our social media feeds for all the shows. And subscribe. You can subscribe either to an individual show or to the entire network, whatever you like. We appreciate the listenership no matter what. Let's thank Scott Dayton and Twill Edina Galleria. Again, it's twillmn.com. Beautiful website. And I went in the other day. I bought a Peter Millar shirt. I own a couple of Barber shirts. I really like the Johnny O line. I just got a Johnny O golf shirt, and that, this time they're known for all kinds of different clothing and all kinds of different brands. But this time of the year, it's a great place to go buy golf stuff. Scott's a big golfer himself, and he's very, very able to show you not only what looks good, but what's kind of breathable and flexible and good to play golf in.
Hi, I'm Stacy Souhan. I love Twill, Scott Dayton's shop in the Edina Galleria. Twill takes the stress out of shopping by offering updated traditional fashion. I know that if Jim goes in there shopping alone, I will like what he buys, whether it's pajamas, flannel shirts, or suits. I plan to recommend Twill to my daughter when she has to buy wedding party gifts and attire. Twill in the Edina Galleria will bring your fashion game to a championship level.
All right, tell me about Dustin Byfuglien. Where is he in his career, and is he a thoroughly likable character, or is he also a guy with kind of an edge?
Well, I mean, if you're the opposing fan and opposing player, you probably don't love him. But the one thing about him, I mean, if you get to know him, is he's kind of a big cartoon character. I mean, he's got this, I don't know, there's just something about him that just kind of makes you laugh anytime you even hear him speak. He tries to be a bad interview on the ice. He does just crazy stuff, not just to the opponents, but to his teammates. I mean, he goes into goal celebrations and punches his own teammates, smacks them around, shoves his own teammates as he's going out on the ice and things like that. He gets himself hyped up for these games. But the one thing about all his devastating hits in this postseason is that they've all been clean. I mean, They stink. You hate to watch Mikko Koivu and some of these guys, Joel Eriksson Ek get their bodies blown up the way that they have. But man, it is just something to be seen, him take over a series. And it's not just that he's a physical specimen. He's got an unbelievable shot, a huge reach. He's been much improved defensively. He's a thoroughbred on the ice, and that pretty much goes to anywhere, any spot on the ice. And so I did a big feature on him in the Athletic that we posted last night. And I talked to his agent. I talked to John Torchetti. Talked to a bunch of players in the locker room about how this guy the evolution of this guy and what he has become. And right now he has taken over the postseason. He just continues to get better and become more effective for this Winnipeg team.
Has conditioning been a problem for him at times during his career?
Yeah, I mean, it has, but you look at him now, and he looks to me to be a little lighter than he's been in the past. But look, I mean, that's always been his kind of MO, and but the reality is that he still moves, really impressively for a big guy. It doesn't seem to affect him at all on the ice. I wrote an anecdote today where he basically doesn't play with shoulder pads. I mean, his shoulder pads that an equipment manager on the Jets told me yesterday is one that he would not allow any other player in the league to wear. They're that thin. But yet you look at him and he looks as big as ever. So his conditioning is not something that seems to affect him in any way. And again, he's not. Years and years and years ago, when I'd see him off the ice, he looked like he looked frankly like almost, I don't want to use the term obese, but definitely overweight. And now to me, he just looks like somebody that's just a big guy on the ice. So when I see him off the ice, he doesn't look to me to be supremely overweight, but for the fitness level that a lot of NHLers have, he usually, doesn't hit that type of mode, but he's not somebody that to me, I look at like he was years ago. He looks to me like he's just kind of a big guy.
You said the crowd in Winnipeg was crazy for game one. Compare the Winnipeg atmosphere to the Vegas atmosphere and tell me if one's better or if there's another place in the NHL that tops both of them.
Well, I mean, it's just different here because the building is so much smaller. I mean, it's obviously around the arena. It's just absolutely rabid. That's where it doesn't even compare to Vegas. But in the arena, they're just both very fun. The game ops in Vegas is second to none in the NHL. It's just one big. It's almost like from the start to finish, it's almost like a movie. I mean, if that makes any sense. I mean, it's absolute entertainment. Everything seems to flow. Everything's going on every second of the ice during any stoppage, of the game. Every second of the game, there's something cool going on, and it's immense. It's just impressively produced. We're here. It's more of a hockey game that goes on with just very loud crowds. They're comical. They do a lot of taunting of the other team, taunting of the other goalies. But it's just loud. It's fun. It's been fun to listen to.
Other than Byfuglien, who is the player with Minnesota roots who is the best player remaining in the playoffs?
Well, I would go with Wheeler. I mean, he's just awesome, and he's just had a great postseason. So, I mean, probably I would say I'm just quickly looking at other teams. I wouldn't put Oshie in there. I wouldn't put Tuck or Holla there yet. But I mean, both are having great postseasons for the Vegas Golden Knights. But Wheeler's the best player in terms of best player right now in the Western Conference. I mean, Scheifele has just been absolutely dynamite. 12 goals. 8 multi-point games, just awesome.
Let's get to some Twitter questions and Michael's other thoughts about the playoffs. Do want to thank Fixology Repair, John Hedges' shop, third floor of the Mall of America by Nordstrom's, also in the Skyway downtown, just south of the Wells Fargo Center, across from Dunn Brothers Coffee. It's fixologyrepair.com. They have a nice shop downtown Minneapolis, a lot of accessories as well as the repair shop. They have an even bigger shop with a lot of high-end stuff out at the mall.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
So before we get to Twitter questions, what would a championship do for Ovechkin's reputation